So this is the GaggiMate documentation website. And on this one, you have a chapter called flashing, where you just basically see two little buttons. So first up, I'm going to connect the controller. When you flash the controller for the first time, you have to hold down the boot button, which you can see in the pinout here is a right button. So press the boot button again. And then here on the flashing website, in case you didn't see the boot button, you can see that on the pinout. It's the right button here. And now I'll just press flash control again. Here, this one is the controller. It can show up as different names, but yeah, the other ones are just Bluetooth and debug console. So, and then I'm just going to install this again. So this one's completely new out of the box. So this is kind of what you get when you order the screen. It doesn't come attached, so you have to take this carefully out of the box. They do provide you with a little tab here to pull it out. And then you have this spacer in here. What you can basically do is you can fit a battery in here if you want. I did calculate it, and it's not like for a long time. So you can probably run this for an hour at most with the battery. So right now I'll just take off these little tabs here, and I'm gonna try and glue that on there centered. So you have to be careful how to put this on, because otherwise it's not gonna line up in the end with the casing. And yeah, that looks good. So just press this on a bit. Just be careful with the front, it's very flimsy. So the screen kind of works the same. You just plug it into USB. And now you can just do the same thing. And flash this one. This one's going to take a bit longer. It's a much bigger app that GaggiMate is running on the screen. There you go. This one is the beta mount that I was talking about. So basically, you can see we have the USB connector in here. And then we just line it up with that. We do have to take this little front cover off. And then this one is not fully symmetric here, so you do have to kind of take care on how to align it. And then just very gently push it over the top. All right. And then that just locks in place. And in this case, we can kind of fit it over the top for a machine here. So I did look at the wiring diagram, which you can kind of find here. This does have like a legend down here of what is what. And I did follow this through and wrote these short wiring instructions. So I will just start with making all these little cables that I mentioned here. And then we can do the whole install in one go. Okay. So in this machine, we have a slightly different temperature sensor. In the Gaggia Classic, you get one that has an M4 thread. This one uses thermostats that are just screwed or like bolted to the or pressed to the surface. That's those two here. So I opted for one with this little loop here. And we can just add that to the little connection there. So T1 has the red connection, and T1 is the one we're going to bridge. So we're just quickly going to take off these two. Might as well remove them. Okay, so this one is T1. now we can just pull this off. And then we're going to use one of our little jumpers we have here. And bridge over where T1 was. Now we have here T2. And there we go. Okay, now we're going to take our temperature sensor and basically just screw it down in place where the little buckle for the thermostat was. And just screw this down on one side and on the other. Okay, that's the temperature sensor done. And then now we have the two exposed connections here from the steam thermostat, or it's T2 in the diagram. And in here, I'm just going to put our two connections for the SSR. Okay, here's a little SSR. On these, you do have an output side and an input side. The output side is AC, so it doesn't really matter which way around you do it. And then the input side is DC, comes from the board. So on there, you have to kind of care how it works. So I'll just take these two connections here, connect them to the output. And that's the start of the SSR wiring. So the next step in my instructions here is remove the line labeled R from interruptor coffee and put it away. So R should be the red one. I am going to use the pliers for this because this is hard to reach. It makes sense to remove the top one first. And it seems like because we are using the eco version of this machine, that we do have an extra wire that is not in the wiring diagram. So we do have to remove this white one. And it just seemed to be insanely hard to remove. That's white. And I also do not like it, but the switch, the little connector is loose. All right. Now we have to bridge the black and the white one. And since we have this orange one here, which is not in the wiring diagram, the red one does connect to the heater line. The orange one can just stay on there. Might be for now. Just so I can access the Steam switch. Well, for the Steam switch, it says to either bridge them, or like I said, to either bridge them or leave disconnected. So I guess I'll just leave them on there. Doesn't matter. Okay, now we do have to access the pump. Just remove the front plate here. And the grip tray. Let me just change this camera up. It's the swing off. Okay. Which didn't actually have to come off. Okay, let's turn this around for you guys to see. So here we have the Eco PCB, I guess. And then right next to that is the pump. And then on the pump, there should be one red connection. Yeah, and this down here is a little screw I was trying to reach. But it is very hard to get to. Okay, let's check where the connection is on the pump. Turn it a bit. And then I guess it would be this one. little thermal fuse on there. And then this time it's going to be the female spade connector instead. Like this. And then I'm going to route this cable up here. Back to the top. Just zip tied here with the rest of them. Okay. And now I'm going to screw this back on. And we can try to get this back plate back on. You just bend this over. Okay. Well, I guess that works. Put this all the way down, both sides. Make sure not to pinch those. And then this is back on, and now I just have to try and hit that screw again. I got it. Now I just have to screw it down. Okay, that's on there again. All right. Let me just quickly wipe this off. This is actually usually the only non-black part on this machine on the outside, which I did not like, so I just wrapped it in black. We can put the drip tray back on, and this looks like a coffee machine again. All right. And then now we have to connect one extension to this orange cable, which is going to be our valve connection. Here we have the pump connection. And the last two that we have to install is one for line and one for neutral. I do recommend in the guide actually labeling all this, so you should probably do that. We have to take the red line from the steam switch. Let's get that off there. That's done. And that will be our line connection. We have line, we have valve, we have the pump. Just route the under here. Get this out of the way, get this out of the way. Stop this a little bit. Line, valve. And now we just need a neutral connection. And then the neutral connection, I take the black one from the steam switch. The white one on the steam switch goes to forward. Oh, that's the water switch, I'm sorry. Yeah, black one from the water switch works as well. And then that's the black one. So let's do our extension in black and pop that in there. And the white one can just go back on the water switch. All right. So this is probably good how it is. This one has these two little things on here. I have to remove them because we use a different style connector on the board. Okay. And now for the SSR connection, we made this little cable. And on this one, you have to kind of like look how it's orientated. Here on the right side, we have a plus on this one, and on the left side, we have the minus. I just chose blue for minus, so we're gonna use green for the signal, or for ground. You rather want to say that. Okay, let's put the cap back on here. I'm not gonna just screw this in here, because I will remove it and replace it with a proper one. So I will put it on the ground here. So it does have something to put its heat against. And I'll just show a couple of zip ties now. And now here we have all the connections to the PCB. And let's add another zip tie there. I haven't actually decided. So the PCB I'll probably put here on the side somehow. This works nicely. So I'll just glue it to the side here, and then it's kind of floating in there. Oh yeah, the SSR somehow bolted to this floor plate or to the back plate here. This one's probably going to be the coldest. And I could actually bolt it to, see if you can probably see it. There is like this little stud just showing out there. Maybe I could bolt it to that one. But I will look it up as well, how other people have done it. Well, this is where you should label them. This one is the three-way valve. Just put it in here for now. And then I'll go and get the screw well. You can either refer to the pinout on the website, or I've printed the pinout as well on the bottom. And then the pump. And these two. Those can probably use a little trimming. Let's see. I'm gonna get a screwdriver. Open this one and the other one. And connect our thermocouple. That's the first one. And the second one. Okay. Yeah, Devil Demos just sent me the NSSR placement idea. And people seem to screw it next to the three-way valve. So behind this frontal cover that we took off earlier. So now what's missing is the screen connection. This is the ring end. And then here we go. And there's a wire connection, which I made a bit too long. It's not too bad. It's going to come in handy later when I do place it on there, I guess. And I need a zip tie. This one, let's place this into its enclosure. Huh. Yeah, when you do get this, these pins at the bottom might be a bit too long. So you have to kind of take some pliers and take some of them off. All right. And let's try this again. That sits on here just nicely. And now we can put the top on. And now this would just go in here like this. Or maybe just the other way around. Just like this. And this kind of sits on top of the steam valve now, which I do not like. So I'm just gonna get some double-sided tape and temporarily glue this on there. Maybe the board can actually go next to the SSR down there. And I think we're ready to give it some power. I'm gonna plug this into the screen. Just have to make that port a little bigger. Let's see if this works. Oh, the power goes out. I did something wrong. Nope. Power still on and screen is starting. Starting but not connecting, which is weird.